Hello, all you ghouls and fools and tools and hello.
Welcome back to another episode of In Horror We Trust. What's your favorite scary movie?
It's good to be back.
Yes, it is. But we have a lot to catch up on.
There has been a lot released that we have gorged ourselves upon in the last few months, I guess. Couple months.
Yes.
So today we'll be kind of catching up on a few movies we saw recently,
Yes.
including Longlegs, Oddity, Alien Romulus, and Strange Darling.
Boom.
Boom, boom, ba, ba. A lot of them being very talked about upon in the horror sphere.
Yes.
Well, obviously. But like a lot of viral stuff going on for a few of them.
Yes, definitely. Lots of word of mouth, lots of talk about quite a few of these films.
Which we touched upon in our last episode for
Yes.
horror marketing. But
Let's see how effective they were. All right, up first. The first film we caught. Longlegs. One of our more anticipated films of this year. We were definitely
Probably
very excited
the most
for it.
anticipated.
Yeah.
I was
Carissa
so
was about
wound
this movie.
up.
The marketing fucking sold her.
Yeah, truly. Just the teasers, honestly, just the
Yeah.
teasers by themselves, I was like, this seems fucking cool, or creepy, unsettling. I love thrillers, so just just showing that like FBI crime scene kind of stuff in it, I was like, okay, you got me. And then Micah Monroe, she's always phenomenal, I think.
I agree.
But first reactions.
I will say, I'll start, and I will say, I was thoroughly impressed. I really enjoyed it. I don't have really anything negative to say. I think that the cinematography was A+. I feel like the score and sound design was A+. The acting was incredible. I think Nicolas Cage was just the right amount of crazy. I think Micah Monroe played her character beautifully.
Yeah.
I think there were genuine scares. I think the pacing was done right. I genuinely just don't have anything negative to say about this movie. It was a hell of a ride.
Take that, haters.
Yeah. I know this movie did get a lot of hate. Like, a lot of people...
Polarized a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely polarized. I think people had high expectations.
Yeah.
Some were let down. Some were like us, where we had high expectations, and I feel like it landed.
Yeah. And like, due to the marketing, there was a lot of movies did scariest movie of the year, and people get a picture of scary. What's scary to you is very subjective.
It's so subjective, and I honestly take that with a grain of salt when something says it's the scariest movie of the year. So and so says it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, is it good or not? Yeah.
That's like the simplest marketing ploy. Yeah. Like.
I think that and a lot of the it was so scary, people threw up or walked out. I'm like, okay.
Do it. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of people let themselves get wrapped up into Silence of the Lambs and Seven expectations.
Which I do think it borrowed a lot from those movies. Yes. But is it going to be those movies? No.
That would be fucking dumb if it was.
Yeah, like, why do I want to watch those movies again?
Exactly.
Just like rinse, repeat. No.
That's literally what Osgood Perkins said.
Yes.
It's like, yes, they did kind of use, especially Silence of the Lambs, to kind of, I guess, get your attention, kind of draw you in as a base of like interest.
I don't think the storyline was anything like those movies, but I think tonally it hit that mark where it definitely felt like Silence of the Lambs or like Seven or just something in that kind of universe. Yeah. But story-wise, I think it was its own unique kind of telling of Longlegs.
Yeah. To be I agree, like, pretty much same reaction I had.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was definitely wrestling with, like, I guess maybe a little too much in the logic throughout the movie. I guess I was trying to, like, really dissect, like, what the fuck happened?
Oh, okay.
Or, like, just, so I guess the doll, the kind of
Got it.
power of the doll and the connection to Lee, like, especially when the mom's truth is revealed, and then, like, the whole scene where she shoots the doll. And it's been a while, so I can't really remember the specific thought I had, but I've definitely eased out of that, and I guess just the depiction of evil and like serial killers and then devil evil, just kind of how senseless it is, how fucking weird, especially serial killers, how weird they are. So, like, Longlegs being the manifestation of this, like, vessel the devil is acting, or, well, kind of one of the vessels the devil is acting through. He obviously makes the doll vessels.
Yes.
But I know Osgood Perkins kind of, Adam and I were talking about this. There's a lot of serial killer content out there, especially the Ryan Murphy stuff, and just that fascination and weird depictions around serial killers. And I really like how this one really kind of pulls the rug out from under that type of feeling or depiction of a serial killer in media. And we were saying how, like, serial killers are fucking weird people. And you get this Nicolas Cage's crazy, weird performance that you're like, what the fuck? What is this? And I like that. I like that they're not this, like, kind of weird, almost eerily attractive presence.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying there. Yeah.
I mean, that's a tangent, you know, but
Can I elaborate on that tangent? I love that you say that, because I think I agree with you that too often we get, like, depictions of these really crazy ass fucking people. Like, for instance, Evan Peters playing, what's his name? Dahmer. And it created this whole sensation of, like, people wanting to dress up as Dahmer for Halloween, or people, those viral videos of, let me take your picture. Or, like, it was just so, it's so creepy and it's so weird to me. And to see Nicolas Cage, like, people were laughing. And I'm like, that, to me, like, drives the point of how fucking unsettling his character was. And to make it so uncomfortable that, like, it's the furthest thing from your mind to, like, kind of fangirl over the serial killer, which I think is so important in today's kind of realm of, like, this fascination with true crime. Yeah. So, yeah, sorry. I just had to,
perfectly said. That's what I'm trying to get at. And just another point on that is, like, I mean, I understand really Ted Bundy was probably the more famous case of being slightly attractive and obviously getting people's guards down. But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah. I just love seeing the fucking weird, crazy depiction of this serial killer. And Nicolas Cage's performance was very uncomfortable, but they let him fucking go for it.
Dial to 11, baby.
And fun facts, I'm sure people have already seen these interviews now, but just hearing that Nicolas Cage borrowed a lot of inspiration from his own mother for this role.
Which is so creepy in and of itself, and I love it.
Yes, and how she would do that fucking cuckoo thing to him when she was covered in this white face cream.
Horrifying.
That is fucked up.
That's so crazy. Horrifying.
Like, I wish I could see that.
I know.
But I know Osgood Perkins also said that he had an image of the white face makeup from Bob Dylan as well.
Which I love the whole concept of, like, this character that they created, how it was kind of borrowed from, like, old rock and rollers, and, like, how it was, like, plastic surgery that kind of just went bad, and it just, it gave more life to, I don't even want to say the motivations, but like the creepiness of Longlegs, and like the kind of like, maybe even in a sense helps you understand like why this guy might have like, I don't know, gone a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did really like the appearances of the devil throughout.
Yes.
You know.
Me too.
It's kind of funny seeing the videos after, like, oh, I'm just like now seeing. I'm like, you didn't fucking notice that?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
I get
how?
some shots,
Yeah.
but like, I feel like I caught it pretty early on, and then it's like really hard not to miss the rest of the film because you're kind of looking out for it and you're aware. But it is kind of funny just being like, oh, look at how many times every time the devil appeared, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Can I ask you what your favorite scene was in the film? If you have one. Because I have one specifically that I loved. It just threw me so off guard.
Oh, that's hard. So I really like the intro.
That's mine. Yeah, it was so shocking.
Yeah. Because it was like a jump scare, but not the typical jump scare where it didn't have that sound cue that's like, bang!
Yeah.
That really is the part that makes you jump.
Hold on. Wait. We might be talking about different intros. Are you talking about the intro where we're first introduced to Longlegs?
Yes.
I'm talking about the intro where the cop goes up to the house.
Oh, yeah, that is the intro.
Yeah. No.
Or wait,
they're both the intro.
Yeah.
Like, they're both
it
just
flows into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
That
Tell me.
Fucking get me too.
Yeah. Tell me why you liked the introduction of Longlegs.
I think
I'm
just
curious.
how they built the kind of overall tone throughout the movie, just from that, where it's like cryptic, very unsettling, very tense, and just very creepy, and you can only get like little hints of Longlegs, what he looks like. You can't tell fully what he looks like yet. You know, when he's peeking around the corner, immediately, right when he did the little, I think he said cuckoo, or like cuckoo from behind the corner of the house.
I don't remember what he said, but it was unsettling for sure.
The frame in 4:3, right?
Yeah.
Or the aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
But just how it was shot with those wide angles in 4:3, but also up to the beautiful crisp close-ups when the little girl is like following it.
Yeah.
But just that, I guess the hints of Longlegs just being so fucking unsettling, and then when he's talking and how they don't show his head yet, it's just his like hands, and obviously Nick's performance, just like
his little spiel,
which is, I guess I didn't expect him to sound like that, or how like nicey he was, almost like a clown, like a party clown. And then he does that lean in, she takes a picture of him, and he leans down grinning, which gave me a jump, it made me jump, but it didn't have that like bang, but it was
there was no sound cue, it was just startling.
He just bent down so swiftly, and you get just the quickest glimpse of his fucked up face. His odd looking face, I guess. So I mean, but
go ahead.
The other scene that is the interrogation.
Before I get into that, do you think that, because I've heard a lot of discussion about both sides of this, but do you think it was a disservice to the film to reveal Longlegs that early? Or do you think it would have been more impactful if they had waited to show him?
I don't think so, because of how they did it and how fast it was, that I really couldn't like get a full idea of what he looked like. And it was, his face was almost like a blur, but it was like this hideous mask almost looking. And just the way he just how powerful, I guess, how the frame intentionally cuts it off for so long, until that last split second, and then I don't know, it just got a really visceral reaction from me. And then I'm like, I'm fucking in. I'm ready. Like, what's this guy about?
No, I
what
hear
happened
that.
to this girl?
I agree. I think after that scene, we both looked at each other and were like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is going to be a ride.
Yeah.
I liked the second intro because I was still at a place where you're trying to figure it out. You're like, okay, who are these cops? Who are these, like, why does Micah Monroe's character know that, like, why does she have this gut feeling that he's in this house? Like, what is going on? And then, of course, as horror fans, you're sitting there and you're like, you fucking idiot. Do not just go up to the door when she's telling you, like, he's in this house. Right. But the last thing I expected is what happened. And it was so just abrupt and in your face and startling. I was like, what did we just sign up for? Yeah. Like, what is this movie going to be right now?
And it really sends you reeling, because then you're also thinking, like, does this have anything to do with Longlegs? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Absolutely. And then having those two scenes back to back, I was like, oh, we are in for it. Like, what is this movie? So it just got me pumped and hyped, and I was ready to see the story kind of unfold, and it left more questions. Yeah. I feel like, because we still didn't know all too much about what was going on. Like, yes, we'd been introduced to Longlegs. Yes, we knew, like, we're kind of figuring out who Micah Monroe is and what she's doing there. And then as the story progresses, some of those questions get answered, but it was a hell of a way to start the film.
I do think it was a great introduction to Lee's character. Spoiler alert.
It's a mouthful to say.
Not knowing that she was the little girl in the very first part of the intro. Yeah. But, like, it was a great intro to her character in the present.
As an adult.
Because she's very quiet.
She's introverted for sure.
Like, kind of awkward almost.
Oh, God, and the way Micah Monroe just portrays that is perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's borderline unsettling, where you're just like, what's going on with her?
Yeah, like, what's she all about?
Yeah.
Especially with that sense, that, like, almost sixth sense she has. And then into the when she's in, like, the debrief.
Yes.
Going through those slides was interesting. And I don't know, it just makes you, just want to know more about her. Like, oh, how is this sense going to help her throughout
absolutely
the movie, I guess.
Yeah, I remember, like, immediately after that scene, I was just like, oh, is this girl, like, clairvoyant? Like, is she going to help the cops in that way? Like, what's going on here? So it was a cool way to kind of intro the start of the chaos of this movie.
Which I had seen a lot of criticisms of, like, people feeling that the characters weren't really fleshed out, or they felt it didn't go anywhere. And so I'm kind of curious if you got that sense at all, or if, like, maybe they were thinking, like, that introduction of her sixth sense kind of thing didn't really come into play.
No, like, when people say shit like this, I'm like, did we watch the same thing? I don't understand what more you could have wanted from the characters. I think the film explained everything it needed to. She's not clairvoyant. She has a connection to the devil because of this experience that she had when she was a child. Like, what the fuck?
The way you just laid it out.
Like, it's not that difficult to fucking understand.
Or, like, I think Adam and I were saying, because it's kind of framed with this, like, detective, serial killer, mystery, solving murders, that it wasn't, the murders didn't get solved in the
traditional sense,
like in a neat little bow,
but on purpose. It's a fucking red herring. Like, it's supposed to mislead you because it can't put all the cards on the table in front of your face within the first 5 minutes of the movie.
And it's bigger than just killing being solved. It's fucking the devil. It's
sorry, I didn't mean to go.
No, that was
full rant mode, but it was just,
we're
like,
leaving that in.
Please do. But I'm like, it's not that, like, I feel like this film does get into deeper meanings, and it does have a lot of correlation to the Bible. It does have a lot of correlation to the to the devil and deeper kind of context within that. And there are some great creators out there on social media that have deep dived into like the lore that it's attached to, but like at baseline level, this movie's not complicated to understand. Like it's pretty simple. And the symbolism does, I guess it could get confusing if you read too much into it, but like it's really not.
Yeah.
It's just driving the plot line, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I just,
yeah.
I can't.
And I think, thinking back to when I had trouble understanding certain things, and it was more based on the logic, not me feeling like I didn't feel satisfied or anything, or that blah, blah, blah. It was just like, it's mostly the dolls where I got tripped up on.
I was in the same boat as you, but I think it was one of those things where you watch the movie and there's a lot to digest. Yeah. Not in a sense of like complicated context, but it's just so much going on visually, like, there's just a lot going on. So I think it takes time to kind of sit with it. And then you realize that like it's not overly complicated.
And I think it was, especially when things start getting revealed, like the mom's part in it. And then she goes through the flashback and she's kind of just like saying it, which I know a lot of people had to think about that too. Like, oh, she's just pouring out all this exposition, like, which
that I can understand. But then it's like, do you really want to sit through a 3-hour movie?
I didn't have a problem with it either, especially because they would use flashbacks a lot throughout and have the distinction.
And the monologue was really creepy. So I mean, creepy. It served a purpose, I feel like.
But yeah, I think just accepting the movie on its own terms and not wanting it to be something different, you know? Like, but you need to really enjoy it.
I agree.
And, you know, obviously, you have your opinion. Like, you don't have to enjoy it.
No,
and enjoy it.
This is totally going to be a movie that's divisive. Like, not everyone's going to like it, and that's totally fine. Everyone's entitled to enjoy what they like. We just really, we liked it. We dug it.
Or maybe people had a good time. Maybe people expected more, I guess. Again, it comes back to your traditional or like typical idea of like devil and like devil
worship. Yeah, and like worship and all that.
There wasn't a lot of the usual type of, I guess, supernatural Satanism. I mean, there's like a level of possession, but it was shown in such a different way that was really cool.
Which I kind of respect that it wasn't like in your face, like exactly. Hail Satan kind of like imagery. Yeah. It was very subtle.
I think it was very subdued in a way. Yeah. Especially through Lee's character herself. Mm-hmm. And I think people just were expecting more of that in your face.
Yeah. Feelings. I'm a firm believer, I know we say this a lot, but I don't think you should go into movies with expectations. Yeah. I think you should just kind of throw that out the window and just enjoy it for the ride that it is.
Yeah, accept it on its terms.
You'll have a way better time enjoying your film. But what would you give this overall? Or just thoughts overall?
I would give it a couple of long legs.
How many long legs would you give this movie, Carissa?
What's the scale?
There is no scale. I'm just fucking with you. No, but overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's worth the watch. I think that if you see this movie streaming, if it's to rent, I think you should buy it. I think show some support and love to Osgood Perkins. Yeah. If you're unsure, wait until it's free, but I do think this movie deserves a watch, for sure.
Yeah. No, I'll save that for the end.
Okay. Movie number 2.
Oddity. Smaller release.
Yes.
An Irish film.
Little indie Irish film.
It was IFC, right? Was it an IFC release?
Mm-hmm. It was IFC.
Fucking love IFC.
Me too.
And now Neon. But
Neon is stepping up their game.
Yeah. But yeah, Oddity was a nice surprise of a film. You were interested in it from the trailer.
Yes. So I heard that this movie was in the festival circuit. I forget. Please forgive me. I forget which festivals it was in and who was talking about it, but it was catching some buzz in the horror world, and the concept of this movie sounded really interesting. And I was like, okay, this is different. This isn't a story we've heard before. Like, what is this? So I remember, I think I sent the trailer to you and Adam. Yes. And I was like, what do you guys think? And we were on board, and we were like, let's give this a go.
I think I had seen some stills of just that wooden figure.
Yes, that figure
going
was
online.
Creepy.
It was super creepy, and I think immediately I was like, yeah. It did. That figure specifically reminded me of a film I saw on Shudder. It's an Argentinian film called Terrified, because it reminded me of the little boy's dead corpse that's sitting at the table, stoic. It's like a statue like that, but it's like the creepiest fucking, It
gave that same vibe, not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely. I did enjoy it. Super creepy, and it does play into the supernatural.
Yes.
And I think they did some great scares with that. So there's like two halves to it, where it's like the scares of the supernatural scares, and then there's reality,
physical,
once you figure out the reveal.
Yes. Which, are we gonna spoil the reveal or no?
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe just catch this one.
Yeah.
Just
but
catch this one.
There's a level of reality that's very scary that happens in the film. But yeah, I thought it was well done. Performances were great. I'm trying to remember if I at what point I caught on to what the reveal was going to be, where I'm like, oh. But I don't remember. It's been a bit. But.
Yeah, I don't know at what point I kind of caught it either. I do know that I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was a fun ride. I thought that it was a very unique story. I was invested in the characters. I was invested in what was going on. But I do think it got a little bit slow for me. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. But overall, I do think that it was really, really well done. And then once we got the reveal, even though I was kind of a little bit anticipating it, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, it was a fun way to kind of end the film.
Yeah. There's some great, there's definitely some surprise, but also satisfaction in it. I think the use of that wooden fucking figure was well used. It was very creepy, very, very creepy, and something I had not seen before.
Yes.
How they used it. It just, for people, if you're interested in checking it out, it does take place in rural. Is it Ireland? It's definitely rural.
It's a rural area. Yeah, it's a rural area.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think it takes place in just a couple of locations. The movie doesn't switch around too much. Once it settles, you're in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say from the intro. Oh my god, the intro.
Yeah.
Man.
The intro was good.
Which is shown a lot in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, if you check that out, it was so well done on just making you tense of that idea of, should you let a stranger into your house? Yes. And a fucking, obviously scary stranger. They really play with your feelings.
The mental battle I was having during that scene. Yeah. I was sitting there and I was contemplating to myself, I was like, would I let this dude in? Do I trust him? I just kept going back and forth and back and forth. And then once we realized what happened, I was just kind of like, oh shit.
I feel like the first 20 minutes, they really fuck with you. Not only with just that scene, but at that hospital.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What is this? It feels like, is this a supernatural creature?
I think they just did a genuine good job at subverting expectations with this movie, because it leads you to a lot of places and you're just like, what is going on here? And it's not what you expect at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm hesitant to kind of reveal too much about this movie, because I think the less you know about it, the better of an experience it will be.
Yeah.
But definitely check out Oddity. It was kind of a sleeper hit, and it's perfect for this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Give it a shot.
I always love finding some nice gems in foreign horror.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, watch some more foreign horror, guys. Come on.
Do it.
Don't let the subtitles are easy. Come on.
Do
You're
it.
missing out on a lot.
Do it. This is not in subtitles, by the way.
It's not in subtitles.
No.
It's, you know,
this is English, yeah.
But I'm just saying.
But Ireland is still foreign, so.
It is, I believe it's streaming on Shudder now.
I think it is. Yeah. Give it a go. Give it a go.
On to
number 3.
Alien Romulus. Another highly anticipated and viral release. Alien Romulus by Fede Alvarez.
Fede Alvarez.
It was, so already that was a big draw to it. I mean,
yes.
Okay. Fede Alvarez and just another installation in the Alien franchise. Done. Like,
I mean, you had me sold with another, installment of Alien, and then you've got Fede Alvarez behind it. I'm fucking sold.
He's gonna do some fucked up shit.
Yeah. I will say, I am fully behind Fede Alvarez taking over any fucking franchise at this point.
Yeah, as long as he himself is directing it, I am down.
Yes. I think he respects horror so much, and he respects not just the fans, the genre, but he also respects the original storylines. The roots, the OGs.
Yeah.
And he still somehow manages to take the story, create his own kind of ideas with it, and it still works.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And which I would be definitely down to do like a sole episode on special effects, but like for specific franchises or specific movies, because obviously it varies, but Alien is known for those effects, and it's so nice that he kept it practical. He even brought a couple of past special effects artists from the past franchise, the original franchise, onto it, which is great. And you could see it.
So much respect for the fact that he kept it practical. I think that if we saw a CGI filled Alien film, it just would not have felt the same.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And obviously I get, touch ups or like little things cleaned up with CGI is totally fine. But like, with an Alien film, I'm like, they can't not do a physical suit or animatronic, whatever. Yeah.
Which I have no problem with CGI being used for that.
Yeah.
To touch things up or to add a little something or remove a little something. Like, I think there is a time and a place for CGI.
And there's great CGI out there.
But I think it needs to work hand in hand with practical. And when it's just that perfect kind of blend, oh God, it's so good. And I think that this movie encapsulated that kind of relationship of practical and CGI very well.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how amazing the aliens looked?
Yeah. All of them. And the abomination.
Oh, the abomination at the end. Did you see the real actor that? Yes, oh my goodness, so crazy.
That Russian basketball player, or whatever. And just seeing that makeup was fucking crazy.
Insanity.
I mean, obviously his proportions and his body very much lend to it, like Doug Jones. But man, the makeup was so good. He looked so slimy.
It's gross. But he did.
God, okay. Jump into the end real quick when that abomination is revealed for the first time. That fucking shot where he's on all fours. Did you?
Did you call him an
don't
it?
know.
I mean...
It's a fucking it. No, just kidding. It's just an abomination, okay?
It is.
But yeah, he's on all fours, and he has that fucking blank stare.
Oh, God.
Hello?
That was horrifying.
Hello?
I don't know if it scared you, but it scared the shit out of me.
That's
I was
what I'll
like,
be for Halloween.
yes,
Just kidding,
please
no.
do.
Stilts.
You guys should do like a couple's costume where you're just on Adam's shoulder.
Yeah. That would be...
And then just dress Max up as a fucking face hugger.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh,
The
man.
face huggers, that being kind of the first taste you get to see. Obviously,
Yes.
in most of the movies, the face huggers are the first, because obviously they implant the fucking xenomorphs into you. But the first taste of the fucking aliens that we get to see, and it's always so exciting. And obviously, we've seen the franchise before, so you know once you see them, shit's about to go down.
Yes.
They're about to fuck people up. Who's the sorry soul that's gonna get it first? And then because they're doomed after. That scene was really cool when this group of kids, which is like, first of all, the first Alien movie we get to see like this adolescent group kind of.
Yeah, which
takes
I
that
thought was
stage.
interesting. That I remember saying this to you, like it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, I'm so used to seeing the Alien films revolve around adults to see this, like, not saying that they're not adults, they are, but they're young adults. And to see a younger cast kind of going into this film, it was just, I don't know, it just threw me for a loop. And I was kind of like, are they going to be able to sell this?
Right.
And they did. I think
really
they did a fantastic job.
Especially the synthetic.
Yes.
Gosh.
The synthetic was so
acting.
good.
Yeah, just
so
the
good.
little mannerisms
Yeah.
and his facial expressions were so good.
He did a phenomenal job. What is that actor's name? We got to give him a shout out.
David Johnson.
David Johnson, you killed it.
Yes.
You deserve some hype.
Andy.
What did you... Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
The lore was cool behind
Yeah.
like how their parents are usually end up dying under the like harsh working conditions of the Wayland Corps that's like colonizing these different planets and like in the mines. And I mean that that's not far off from like old history and like in our reality of like miners usually dying from either these explosions or a cave-in or fucking lung cancer or whatever, so it's like it was really cool to see that it's very realistic but set in this sci-fi futuristic world.
And I kind of like that, like the backstory was so simple, and like more of the complexity was revealed like once you were in space on the ship. Like I think it was just very easily put. Like this girl, she ends up, you figure out kind of her backstory, who Andy is. You learn that she's trying to get out of that area.
Just trying to get the fuck out of that planet and have a life.
Capitalistic, whatever planet that was, decided absolutely not. You're going to work with us until you die. And she was just like, I need to get the fuck out of here. And her friends were like, hey, we have an out.
That desperation. Leading
absolutely.
to a nightmare that they never would have, imagined.
But it was super simple
and effective.
Super simple, super effective, not complicated at all, but really well done.
And you're like rooting for them. Well, especially Rain, the main character, because she's the most soft and like effective. Well, obviously, the siblings, the sibling pair was going weird relationships going on in that little thing.
Which like I've heard a lot of a discourse about, and people like
Fede confirmed something which I didn't get the sense of.
Because I kind of want to see what you think it is, or what he said it was.
So Fede confirmed the sister, I forgot her name in the movie, but you know how she was pregnant?
Yeah.
She was impregnated by the cousin.
Okay, see, I thought this because
it just kind of went over my head.
I was looking back, and their interactions with one another.
That's what people were saying.
Yeah, they were very intimate, and I was like, it was like a little look or a glance or a touch, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, what is going on here?
I do remember when he died, there being that long look, but because there was with that other girl.
Yes, right? But there was very subtle moments that were kind of alluding to it, but I was like, I didn't think much of it, and then I realized other people were making that assumption too, and I was like, oh, maybe there is something there. And then hearing that, I was
totally
okay.
Went over my head until people were talking about it. And I'm sure if I look back at it now, I'll be like, oh,
I think you would. I think you would see it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very relevant to the story. I don't think, other than what was played out, I don't think that it really needed to be confirmed or denied. Yeah. And it was just kind of a cool little quip.
Yeah. And the cousin was enough of an asshole where you're like, well, he's definitely gonna die, and you're just kind of waiting for it. I guess it does add a little more sympathy
to his character.
It.
But does it? Because it's kind of a little taboo.
Is the baby more of an abomination?
Oh.
It's Katie, Bjorn, and Navarro.
Oh, that's right, Navarro. I remember Navarro.
Yes.
Yeah. Bjorn. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, when they get into the face hugger scene was really cool, and just how they're all in those little containers.
Yes.
And they all start fucking dropping into
the
my
water, goodness,
and then, the little ripples, little fucking Jaws action going on almost. I thought it was really cool because I don't think I've seen this in other Alien films, but the added, I guess, lore that the face huggers can only sense movement and hear, they can hear and, well, I guess, no fucking shit, they don't have eyes. But, because that whole scene where they're trying to sneak past very slowly and they're, scanning.
Oh, which was...
Movement
and body heat, body temperature. Yeah, that's why they were saying don't get anxious because it'll spike your body temp.
Yeah. I thought that was cool because I hadn't seen such focus on them like that.
That was such an effective scene too, of just them trying to get past all of them. Yeah, it was so tense. Yeah.
Because something was gonna go wrong.
I just think this movie was just such a perfect blockbuster, action horror film. Yes. I don't think it could have come out at a better time. I was fully on board. I was immersed in it. The moment it kicked off to the moment it ended.
So satisfying.
So satisfying. And I hope Fede comes out with a sequel because he rocked this out of the park.
It would be really cool to see him come up with an evolution of the xenomorph.
Yeah.
Because we were rewatching the franchise after and just seeing the different forms they have. Obviously, the second one, Aliens, showing the queen, but even the silly ones
I'm gonna
Resurrection with Winona Ryder.
Be honest, I don't remember anything after Aliens. It's been so I remember Aliens, and then I remember Prometheus.
Yeah. Right.
Vaguely. Prometheus is still kind of spotty for me.
Yes, we just rewatched that. It was
everything. And I love all of the movies for their own rights and reasons, but it's been so long since I've seen the other ones. I need to go back and read. It would be fun to have this one come out and then just do a marathon of all of them.
Yeah, definitely recommend because it was cool. You see these different forms of a xenomorph from different evolutions that happened and some interesting designs, and it would be cool to see what Fede comes up with different designs of the xenomorphs.
It would be really cool if we did an episode on monster designs and then picked our favorite xenomorph.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we should. Overall, though, what did you think? Did you love the movie? Would you watch it again? Do you recommend it?
Loved it. Recommend it. I want to own it on physical. It's
Same.
such a ride. The characters are... Yeah, you get invested in the characters. I think Rain was a strong... It's hard to live up to the Ellen.
Yes. She did a great job, though.
She did a great job. She's different.
Yes.
But, like, her own. And she's cool.
I'm giggling because I really want that fucking ridiculous popcorn bucket of the alien head.
Yeah, I want both of them. The one
Yeah.
with the face hugger that, like, glows.
The face hugger's the superior one, but I want the ridiculous, like, oblong alien
Phallic.
head.
Yeah.
I mean, alien is
designed to be phallic.
is phallic in general,
Yeah.
but we're not going to get into all the
Geiger.
subtext on Alien. We could go on for days. But Alien Romulus.
Penises.
Just a bunch of dicks.
Oh, which fun fact, fun story.
And
When-
vaginas.
And
vaginas.
Yeah. Christine and I went to Monsterpalooza
Yes.
a few months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And this was before Alien Romulus came out, and they did a panel.
Yes.
Fetty was there with a couple of his special effects
Makeup artists.
makeup artists. And just them, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did a free signing afterwards, which we
was
were looking up
so
to do.
fun. Yes.
Free poster, and fucking got them to sign it.
Yes.
And
We got to talk to them.
yes, Fetty Alvarez, super
He-
nice,
this
super
is-
humble, just a chill guy.
I'm not trying to brag, but this is my second time getting to meet Fede
Yeah.
Alvarez. The first time I got to meet him was by chance when he was marketing for Evil Dead. This man is so sweet.
Yeah.
He has so much respect for his fans.
Mhm.
I can't give more praise to Fede. Like,
Yeah.
he's an overall just fantastic filmmaker and person, just in general.
Definitely someone I
Yeah.
would want to have a beer with.
Yes, and
Like,
pick
so
his
chill.
brain. Just as, like,
Yeah.
I think film nerds, it would be so fun to just sit with
Yeah.
him and ask him some fun questions.
Yeah, no, it was really cool.
It was a very fun experience.
One of the special effects artists asked me, because I was wearing a Suspiria shirt,
Yeah.
and he gave me a pop quiz, which I got really nervous for. And
She was sweating.
he's like, okay, pop quiz, and I'll do a special something for your poster or whatever.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
And then he asked what the composers behind Suspiria, or what's the prominent.
And I was
band.
looking at
And I
Carissa,
was like,
and I'm like, you better
okay.
not fuck this
I
up,
know,
girl.
I would be so embarrassed. You know, it's okay if you don't know. But Goblin. I was like, Goblin. Easy. And then he's like, yes. So obviously he's a fan. But yeah, he drew a dick on my poster. No, he drew a xenomorph head.
But it looked like a pee-pee.
Yeah. Because it'd be a pee-pee.
They are pee-pees.
They're big old pee-pees running around.
But yeah, it was really fun. Highly recommend.
Yes.
This film. Give
great,
it a shot.
Great installment. Oh, also, I mean, I didn't think you necessarily have to watch it in that order, but it's written to be to take place in between Alien and Alien, so between the first and second.
Good call. Totally forgot to mention that. Yeah.
I feel like it is fun because you will notice certain details. You're like, oh.
But I don't think you need to watch it in that order at all whatsoever. I think as long as you've seen both those films, then you'll have the context needed to like understand the little subtleties in this movie. But I honestly think that you could just see Alien and then go into this one and have all the context you need.
Although now I'm like, where the fuck did that abomination go?
Yeah.
Wait, what happened to it? Oh my god. What happened to the abomination in the end? Did she kill it? Did it blow off into space or something?
She opens like the trap door,
Yeah.
and I think it gets torn into the like
The-
ring.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You remember the rings that they kept showing of the ship?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, I was like, they can't not ignore.
But the question is, did it actually die?
Did it actually die? Maybe its cells.
Maybe that's gonna be the sequel. Is the abomination just like
God.
comes back?
Yeah, 'cause you know they always find a way.
The rings spin in the other direction and it just like absorbs.
Oh shit! That thing was. Oh, man, that poor woman who birthed it, you know?
That whole ending was so batshit, dude.
It was bad shit.
I wish...
It scared me.
Once it kicked off, I was like, what the fuck are we watching right now? Like, this is insanity. Yeah. But it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so... I don't think it would be an alien movie without something, like, absolutely crazy happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What's the last one? Oh, last one.
Last one.
Love hurts. That's the only...
Love scars.
There you go. Love scars. Sleeper hit.
Strange Darling.
So I've heard of this movie pretty early on in development because I follow Kyle Gallner, because obsessed with that man. And he's awesome.
We have an unhealthy obsession with him. I'm sorry, Kyle, if you ever listen to this.
Yeah, no, he's great.
So Chris is actually the person who talked about this movie, and I watched the trailer, and I was like, fucking count me in. This looks amazing.
I mean, when Kyle first started talking about it, while they were making it, he just seemed so excited for it that's what drew me. And I was like, okay, he's like really like hyping this up, or like himself, he just seems very invested in this film and just very excited about it. And so I was just really excited to see when the trailer finally came out. I'm like, okay, what's this about? And the trailer did not let me down. It got me more excited, and
I had zero knowledge, zero expectation, nothing for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than it seemed like a cool thriller.
Yeah.
And watched the trailer and I was like, this looks really amazing.
Yeah.
Later found out that this story was going to be kind of told in a non-conventional, non-linear way, which I love when it's done well. Yeah. And I do think that this movie succeeded in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we should say too much about this.
No, yeah.
I think this is, again, one of those movies where once it's revealed, there's no going back.
I know Kyle and other people, I had heard a lot of other people saying, like, it just goes a way you don't expect, or just, like, there's surprise. And I totally thought that I knew what it was, and I didn't.
I did too.
I'll say. I really thought I knew.
I think it's safe to say this much. I was going into it thinking that Kyle Gallner was going to be a serial killer, and he was going to fucking off people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say any more.
Yeah. No,
watch the trailer.
Go into it without looking into it too much.
Just don't give it away for yourself. This is like a situation along the lines of like The Sixth Sense, where once you see it, once you watch it, once you learn what the plot line is, there's no going back, and you'll never be able to see it the same way as you did the first time. So don't spoil it for yourself. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the ride. It is so well done. The cinematography is fucking beautiful.
Yes. Which is another point of what really drew me into this. Giovanni Ribisi is the director of photography.
Yes.
And I have always loved him as an actor. If you don't know who I'm talking about, because he can be known as that guy. But he's in a lot of stuff, and his roles are always, he just puts his just everything into those roles. He's always so good, and I'm always taken aback at his performances. So I was very interested. I didn't know he did photography or cinematography, and so I was like, oh shit, okay, that's really cool.
I love that there are certain portions of this film, specifically when the lady is running through the grass, where it looks like this film is shot in Technicolor.
Yes.
Like the greens and the reds are so saturated. Like it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so well said. Which it said it was shot all in 35 millimeters.
Yes, which is
film
fucking unheard of nowadays. And it's so refreshing to see when it's done right.
The colors are so awesome.
Oh my goodness. All of them are just so saturated.
Yeah. And there's just like, I mean, the color motifs, tying to certain things or certain characters.
Can we talk about the lighting in the car scene?
Yeah.
Just these two actors, I'm not going to say too much, but they're just bathed in blue. Yeah. And it's so beautifully lit with this blue. And it leaves a little bit of intrigue, but it's also a little bit sensual, but it also is still giving a little air of like uneasiness, because blue is not like full blue is not a color that you're used to like seeing people like just completely absorbed in. And it was interesting because it's not like reading like, oh, they're sitting under a neon light or anything like that, but it's not distracting enough to pull you out of like what's being performed. I loved it. It was beautiful.
I just want to shout out the director, J.T. Molnar.
Yes.
Really love this film, and it's really hard not to talk more about it, but we don't want to.
This is a movie you can spoil.
Cool. The intro is so cool, and like, just kind of makes you think.
It
That's
does.
all I'll say.
Yeah.
Like, cause just like the framing of this and the perspectives. Fucking love the soundtrack. The original music in this, so cool, so good. And then just the covers, like the cover of Love Hurts and stuff. What really enraptured me was the last scene with that song, with like the music that was composed for that scene. But the performances were so good all throughout, but definitely Kyle Gallner and Willa, I think it's Willa Fitzgerald.
Willa Fitzgerald, yes.
Yeah.
Willa
Fitzgerald took my breath away.
She fucking murdered this movie.
Yes.
Like, her performance was insanity.
Yeah.
Like, she was great.
It was like, from beginning to end. But specifically the last scene really like had me thinking about it for days after.
Yeah.
I was just in my mind.
I genuinely, after we saw it in theaters, I was like, I cannot wait for this movie to come out on streaming or VOD or physical media so I can rewatch it, because it's such a ride seeing it the first time, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And I now knowing what the movie's about, how the kind of storyline unfolds, I think seeing it a second time is a very different viewing. Yeah. And so it was cool to see again.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really want to own this one on physical.
Me too.
Yeah. But man, that one did not let me down.
No. It was good.
So good.
I will say, I don't think that this movie is straight horror.
Yeah.
So if you're going into this expecting that, like, put those expectations to the side. Yeah. I do think that this is marketed as what it is. It is a thriller.
A fantastic thriller.
Yeah.
And oh my God, some incredible humor in it too. Yeah. Like throughout, that feels so out of place, yet feels perfect at the same time.
But it works.
Oh my gosh.
It works. All I gotta say is the hippies, the mountain people. The mountain people. When you get there, you'll know what we're talking about.
You'll know.
And you'll get a good laugh, hopefully.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Barbara Hershey.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just so the food scene still fucks me up, dude. The amount of butter.
Yes. Butter.
But yeah, do yourself a favor. Check this one out.
It is on VOD right now.
Yeah, very much an indie film. It's on VOD. I don't think it's available to rent. It's just available to purchase. And I think it's running at about $20, but it's worth every penny. Like, I don't think that you'll be disappointed. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the big recent releases that we've seen and would love to talk about.
Before we wrap this up, though, we gotta ask Adam.
Yeah.
You saw all these movies with us. You gotta give us your 2 cents on all of them.
Okay, so Longlegs was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Longlegs. I feel like it was interesting. I feel like one of my favorite scenes was the scene with it's actually Osgood Perkins' daughter. It's in a little convenience store, and Longlegs is doing the cuckoo thing, and she's like unimpressed, and I feel like it really kind of hints at some of what the film is trying to say is that, like the parents are so enraptured by this idea of like purity or like Christianity, in that they're like, oh, we get free stuff from like a nun, and like Longlegs, who is like enraptured in white, like his car is white, his face is white, his clothes are white, and it's like this purity idea, and she is so unimpressed. She's just like, Dad, the creepy guy is here, and so it shows that like children are like not that easy to convince, but sometimes parents are really easy to convince just by showing like, oh, I'm a pure person, whatever. And so I really like that movie. I really like that scene in particular.
Can I just say how valid what you just brought up was? Like, I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. And then now that you say that, I'm like, I kind of need to rewatch that scene and kind of look at it through that lens. That was cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Was it Oddity?
Yes.
Oddity, I feel like Longlegs has a lot more symbolic meaning, whereas Oddity feels more like pure, just like enjoyment. Like I feel like you go into it for like the kind of trap that it sets for you, you're like I really enjoyed like the kind of supernatural elements in a way that was more, not in a negative way, but more simple, like it doesn't feel as interested in creating like subtext for you, but it's just like, here's the ride, enjoy it, and like it felt more like an like pure kind of like supernatural kind of horror in that way, and I really like that. I agree, like the doll is just so creepy, and there's just certain parts of it that I really didn't expect, it's hard to say, like you guys said, without spoiling it, but it really lays like certain things that you kind of anticipate to happen and then throws kind of a wrench in that. Alien Romulus, I feel like I liked slightly less than you guys. Like I really enjoyed it. I think I watched it twice in theaters actually. I think the one thing that kind of threw me off in the first viewing was, I think in Romulus, his name's Rook, the synthetic, but I think in the first movie his name's Ash or something. I forget.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, it's Ash in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Like the synthetic, like the computer generated synthetic.
Like Ian Holmes.
Ian
Holmes, yeah.
Okay.
No, I loved Andy. I think he was incredible.
Yeah, I was like, his name's not Rook, it's Andy.
I don't remember the name, but that just reminds me. That was one thing that I was a little about on Alien Romulus, was bringing Ian Holmes' synthetic character back with that CGI or like whatever
it's
deep
like
fake
a
face.
deep fake kind
The
of.
deep fake face.
It did throw me off a little bit because I was like, I don't know.
I will say, like, I understand the kind of hesitation towards it, but I don't think, for me personally, it played enough of a significant role for me to like kind of not enjoy the film. It was just, he was a significant character in the movie, but like it just didn't affect me enough to be like, eh.
I agree. Overall, it didn't affect me enough, but I just remember when I first saw that, I was kind of like, eh.
I was so insignificant. I totally fucking forgot to bring it up.
Right.
At least for me. But yeah.
I think because it's weird because, I feel like in Aliens, like the antagonist is kind of the alien, but then there's also like the sort of main antagonist, which often is like the synthetic, and so it kind of threw me off a little bit that, you know, like the rest of the movie is so like polished and looks so clean, and then you get kind of like this weird CGI face, and it's like that really like it took me out for a second, but I think on the second watch I enjoyed it more, like because I was like I expected it and I knew it was gonna happen,
that's super valid.
But I will say that the way they approached it is kind of interesting because like I feel like a lot of movies they'll be like, it doesn't matter what what that person thought, you know, like we'll just resurrect them from the dead, and they like took the time. They were like asked Ian Holmes' estate. They're like, would he want to be in the film? They were like, and I think it was his wife that said like, yes, he would love to be more interested in that, you know. And they made like a prosthetic and then applied CGI to that later. It didn't fully work for me, but I feel like the fact that they still took the time to be like, oh, okay, well, let's try to make this work as well as possible. Was still like really cool. Strange Darling, yeah, I feel like you guys, you know, it's hard to say a lot without like spoiling it, but I will say, yeah, Willa Fitzgerald really blew me away. The cinematography was really, really good. I feel like it feels like very, like Christine, you mentioned the, what's it called? The non-linear kind of style of it, where I feel like because of the colorful nature of it and like the non-linear style, it feels almost like Tarantino-esque.
Yes, yeah.
But it also feels like its own thing for sure. Like it feels very fresh, and it feels like it keeps you guessing, which is I think the thing that is like hard nowadays, you know. Everything is like either spoiled by the trailer or you like I feel like the film sets you up in so many ways to think a certain thing. Like that scene that you mentioned where it's like bathed in blue light, they talk about like I guess like societal expectations of like certain relationships, and you start to think like, okay, I know exactly where this movie's gonna go, and then it just throws you into like a totally different realm.
Can I ask you if you had any indication of where the movie was gonna go, or were you kind of viewing it the way that Chris and I did, where we were just like, what the fuck?
No, I feel like I was on the same page as you. I feel like the movie does a really good job, like without saying too much, like even just like the text in the beginning and stuff, like the way that they frame the characters is just like it wants to give you a certain perspective, and then as the film goes on, you like it just keeps just changing and changing, but it's never, I don't know, it keeps you engaged the entire time, which is really important nowadays, I feel like.
Yes. And it's so hard to do, and they did it so effectively.
There, I do want to say too that when we watched it, there was a person in our audience who was like, he was just laughing. He was laughing the hard. The thing. I feel like you guys should talk more about
This guy was okay. Chris and Adam, you know this. I hate when people are disruptive in a theater. Like, there's nothing that grinds my gears harder than when somebody's talking or when somebody's loud or when somebody's on their phone. Like, you're paying to see a movie, be immersed in it.
Yeah.
But this man added such relief to this movie. It was like, you know what it brought me back to, Carissa? when we watched The Conjuring with Malik.
Oh
and
my
Fong.
God. Yes. Shout out.
Oh my God. It reminded me of that. Just the commentary, the laughing, the just...
But it was like...
pure enjoyment.
Where people would like do a little laugh at something that happened in the film.
Just a little chuckle.
He would be going, he would just extend
this man.
would be louder and longer, but not in a way that made me mad or anything. It just made me happy.
No,
he is in it.
He was
he's
immersed.
He's just amplifying our feelings, and he's not holding back.
I want to watch all horror movies with this man in the background, or just thrillers, horror movie, all of it.
I feel like he said something that made us laugh too, but I don't remember what he said.
I don't remember what he said either.
I think it was after he said this, like, wow, that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this man enjoyed the film, but he was a character, and that made the experience 10 times better.
He was definitely absorbed.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding us.
It was fun. It was one of those audience interaction or participation that's like kind of hypes you up.
Yeah, it was.
Or just like it just makes you, you said, relief.
Yeah, it amplified kind of the viewing experience. I don't think it took away from it at all.
Yeah. That was a good crowd.
It
I
was.
feel like we were all really, really in it and all kind of on the same wavelength and like just on this ride of just like, what the fuck?
Can I ask you both a question? To wrap this up. Out of these 4 movies, how would you rank them?
Fuck.
From first to last.
Ooh. Oh man, that's so hard because they're so different. And I like them so much for different reasons.
If you had to pick one out of the 4, what would it be? If that's easier. I'll tell you mine.
I think honestly, Strange Darling.
I was going to say Strange Darling by far. I just think the whole experience was enough to put it above the other films.
Yeah.
I think I knew what to expect for the most part from the other 3. This was just not at all what I thought it was going to be. And that ride was so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you?
It was hard between that and Longlegs for me.
Those would be my 2 contenders, but I think
they're all so great. But like,
I think Longlegs falls just shy for me.
Yeah.
And I think again, it's because the movie is what I expected it to be to an extent. Of just like, I knew what I was getting into while watching Longlegs. Strange Darling was not what I thought it was going to be at all.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you, Adam?
Yeah, I agree. It's between those 2. I feel like I thought more, like, for days on end, like, past watching the Longlegs, I feel like I thought about it more. And so, like, I feel like in some ways, like, the impact was a little stronger. But Strange Darling, I feel like made me... It gave me this sense of, like... I feel like when you're younger and you watch, like, a classic movie, you know, and it, like, sticks with you, and you're like, wow, like, you know, Pulp Fiction, like, what the hell? That's, like, unlike anything I've ever seen, you know? It had that sense to me where it made me feel like I was, like, young, and I had seen something new for the first time. But at the same time, like, Longlegs made me feel like, I don't know. I thought about it for, like I said, for days on end where it felt like artistic. I feel like it's weird. It's like, it's like 2 sides of a different coin. I guess I would maybe go with Longlegs just because I feel like Longlegs was also in a point where there weren't a lot of other films where I was really like, there was a lot of contenders at the same time. And so I had more time to kind of like focus on it. And I was just like really like enraptured by it. But, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
This is unrelated, but like one I haven't seen yet that I was really anticipating that I still am excited to see is Cuckoo.
Oh yeah. So that's definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about what we're excited to see coming up?
Yeah.
So that's definitely on my list.
Yeah. That Nosferatu, of course. But it's fucking December.
I know.
Come on.
But I feel like that's a perfect time.
It is
for
a perfect
it.
time for sure. Little Christmas horror, gothic.
So excited for that fucking movie. I'm gonna say it. I kind of want to see Smile too.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah,
that. I'm not expecting much from it,
right.
but I think it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. Also excited for Azrael. Cannot fucking wait to see that. It is a movie with no dialogue.
Yeah.
Like how we've seen that once with that Alien movie that dropped on Hulu.
Oh, right.
God, what was that called? It was really good, and I am really, really excited to see if this pulls it off well. I am so fucking excited for Heretic. People saw it at Fantastic Fest and said this was the best A24 movie to release yet.
Wow.
Which is saying a lot. And you guys know how much my pretentious ass loves A24 horror movies. So I am so fucking excited. And I hope I am not letting expectation get the best of me with this. But I love a religious, satanic horror movie. Right. And then you put A24 into the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Hereditary is one of my faves.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for Heretic.
This is the one with Hugh Grant, right?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Really
I am really interested to see how he does in horror. I don't think I've seen him in horror.
I don't think I've seen him in horror either.
Yeah.
I think we need to see this in theaters. You guys.
Yeah.
No One Will Save You. That's the Alien.
Yeah.
Oh, No One Will Save You. Yes. That's right. But yeah, I'm also excited to see, I have purchased these two movies. I'm waiting to watch them. But I don't even know if this would be considered a horror movie. So I was misled when I initially read about this movie. It's called Red Rooms, and it's a French film. And somebody had told me that it was a new French extremity film, and I was like, fuck yeah, bring it. It's not. It's not even, like, apparently it's not even horror. It's just what's going on is kind of horrific. It's about this girl that has a fascination with a true crime case that's happening in her town, and she becomes obsessive with it. I'm really excited to check it out. It's a foreign film. It's all in French.
I'd be interested in that.
Yes. Let me know when you have some time. We can watch it. And then Diesel, which is kind of an indie hit that people have been really talking about. I started a few minutes of it, and then I got really busy and I couldn't finish it. From what I saw, I mean, I didn't really see much enough to say this or that, but I've heard great things, so I'm excited to catch the rest of that. Or what about that?
Substance?
Okay, so I saw that is so up your alley, Adam, with the body horror. Okay, so initially my brother sent me the trailer for this movie, and he's like, "What do you think of this?" And I was like, "Oh, look, it looks fucking terrible. Like, no." And then I started hearing more about it, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll check it out." And then I learned it was body horror, and I was like, "I don't know if I could do this." Right. Body horror just grosses me out. I can't.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, Carissa's been looking at some of the clips, and she's like, ugh.
I just
not in a way where I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
I want to see it.
What's intended, the intended reaction.
I want to see it, and I love Demi Moore, but I just
Margaret Qualley.
Body horror is just such a visceral experience. It just reminds me of Videodrome, and it just makes me gag.
That's fair.
There was another film. It's an Alexander Aja film, which he has not done anything in a hot minute. So, the new Alexander Aja film. So he's done movies like Crawl and Hills Have Eyes. He did the remake. But his
fuck me up.
Yeah, I think that movie fucked a lot of people up.
I didn't want to go to the desert.
He did High Tension. Horns, Piranha. He's done a lot of really fucking fantastic movies. But he has a new movie coming out called Never Let Go. I don't know if it's come out yet. I just know it was supposed to release this year, and it has Halle Berry in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm 100% sold on it. Yeah. I saw the trailer and I'm like, this could be good, but I love Aja, so I might give it a shot. I just don't know if I would see it in theaters.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps up this episode. We had a lot to blab about.
Blab.
Hey, Carissa.
Do you hear that?
Mommy! Daddy! Save me from the hell of living!
I think that's coming from outside.
Mommy!
I'll be right back. I gotta check this out.
Save me from the hell of living! Cuckoo! Cuckoo!
Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
I'll be right back. I need to check this out.
Hello, little girl.
You gotta do that again. You can't. You can't laugh.
I'll just start from